My name is Teresa Quinn, and I'm a social worker with the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition. And today we're going to talk a little bit about coping skills, and why it's important. This whole section on our mental health resource library is all about coping. And today, this video in particular is just a little overview 101, as well as talking about how to create a coping toolkit or a self-care plan is another way to think about it. So coping is literally just behaviors that help you manage difficult situations, right? And we cope all the time, right? We cope with meetings we don't want to go to. We cope with tasks and chores we don't really want to do, right? And we all kind of find different strategies to get through the hard things. And when you're struggling with an ovarian cancer diagnosis, or when you're trying to figure out how to manage supporting somebody in your life who's managing a diagnosis, it's really important to have lots of things in your toolkit to cope, because one thing is not always going to work, right? And so as we're thinking about expanding your toolkit, I want you to think about coping in 4 different categories. And if it's helpful, if you're more of a visual person, you can literally draw out 4 quadrants on a piece of paper. And I want you to write in cognitive, social, physical, and spiritual. Those are the 4 categories we're going to talk about. So cognitive coping, and you're going to list skills in each of those quadrants that work for you, right? So not just kind of generic strategies, but things that you know support you when you're going through something difficult. So cognitive could look like reading, researching a new topic, or listening to a book or a podcast on something that is just interesting to you. Watching a show or a documentary of something you don't know a ton about, or it kind of is maybe your go-to topic to learn more about, right? All those things that kind of get your brain working and distracting you, right? Distraction's a phenomenal tool. In social, I want you to think through strategies like calling a friend or a family member, and not just friend or family member, but write in somebody in particular, their name, right? So that way you don't actually, if you're going through something and you're trying to figure out what's going to help me in this moment, you don't even have to go through all the extra steps of who am I going to call, right? And know exactly who your support person is going to be, and somebody that you know is going to have some good listening skills too, right? Social could also be leaning on pets, right? Pets are phenomenal coping skills. We're capable of having deep relationships with animals. So we want to lean into that. Children in your life as well can also be a phenomenal playful social coping. And then another example of social coping, I mean, could be reaching out to your support group if you're in one. It could be reaching out to an online forum of caregivers if that's supportive for you, right? But thinking about ways that you want to engage socially, it doesn't have to be a ton of energy, but really making sure that there's a couple of different options within that. For physical coping, I want you to think through what form of movement is most supportive for you. It does not have to be a long workout. It can be a gentle YouTube 10-minute stretching video, or going for a walk around the block 3 times, right? Anything to just move your body in ways that feel supportive for you. Cooking a meal, something nourishing. And if that doesn't feel accessible, right? Deciding what you're going to eat and how to really savor that meal, right? So it's not necessarily just, can I eat this as quickly as possible to move on to the next thing, but how can I actually ask myself what I'm craving right now, what I need right now, and engage with that to some degree, right? Breathing can be a form of physical coping, which we'll talk a little bit about. There'll be a couple of different videos that talk through some breathing strategies. So take a look at those and see if those are helpful for you. But you can also find lots of meditations and YouTube videos that do some breathing exercises as well. And then engaging with your senses. That's a really big part of physical coping, right? So I want you to walk through the 5 senses. So smells, sounds, textures, sights, and touches. Is that the one I'm missing? And incorporate as many of those as possible in your environment, right? Notice what you're already doing, right? You probably have a favorite blanket that you always go to when you're trying to cozy up, right? Notice what feels good about that blanket. Is it the texture? right? Is it a memory associated with it, right? Is it something that's handmade? Noticing why you're drawn to the things that you are for comfort, and how can you incorporate more of that into your life? And then for the spiritual coping, for this, it doesn't necessarily mean connected to any sort of particular religion, more just what connects you to something larger than yourself, right? So for some folks, that is a spiritual community, a religious community. For others, that's spending time outside in nature. It could be connecting with a local kind of spiritual guide, right? Also, another factor of spiritual engagement and spiritual coping is engaging in creativity, right? Write, doodle, take photos of things that you find beautiful, anything that connects you with something larger, right? It's not just you and what's happening in this exact moment. So that's kind of our coping 101, some 4 quadrants to consider. You're welcome to, again, draw these out in quadrants, write out a list. So that way, when you're dealing with something really challenging, you've got a whole almost like menu of options to go towards. And you don't have to be all on your own in that moment, trying to figure out what's going to help. We need lots of things in our toolkit, and we'll have even more videos below to figure out what exactly that looks like for you. So for right now, take good care and get started on that self-care checklist.